Okay, so now we want to learn more about arrays. Okay, so now that I told you at the beginning, it's just the basic things about arrays. But what is an array? Array is gonna be like an object that we're gonna learn in the next chapter. Okay, but now we're gonna use a new a new concept for variables. Okay, these are regular variables, right? Correct. But NA numbers, it's not a regular variable. It is a reference variable. Okay, again, this is a reference variable. So when we use arrays, we're gonna create a reference variable. Okay, what is a reference variable? The reference variable works like this. So you're gonna have in one part of the computer memory the variable NA numbers. Okay, NA numbers. Okay, now when you create the array, it's gonna create two things. Okay, remember default values, correct? You execute this code in NetBeans, you're gonna create an array with 3 subdivisions, right? And the index starts at 0 and finish at 2, right? The size is 3. Okay, but this is one side, okay, in the computer memory. And we're gonna have another part in the computer memory. Okay, what happened here? Any numbers, right? Any numbers here, it's gonna be the variable, the reference variable that it's gonna point to your array. It's gonna point to your array. What's mean that? When you create an array like this, Java is gonna create something in the computer memory, something like this. What is that? This is the location in the computer memory. Good. So this is the location in the computer memory. Okay? The location in the computer memory where your array with the data is located. Okay. And in this reference variable NA numbers, we're gonna have this location. So what happened here? So if we don't have this reference variable where the location with the address of your array, we are not gonna be able to manipulate the array. Okay? So again, when you create an array, you create two things. Okay? Like this. Immediately you're gonna create a reference variable and numbers that point to your array, the physical array with your data. Here, any number by itself doesn't have data, only have the address, the location of the computer memory where your array with data is located. Okay, two things. Okay, like your home and the address, correct? Like the TV with the remote control. We are synchronizing the TV with the remote control. So when we synchronize that, it has the location where the TV is, everything is setting up, and then you're going to be able to manipulate the TV with the remote control NA numbers. What means that? This is the reason why we were using NA numbers, correct? NA numbers, and then you can use here 0, right? but you are not able to do any numbers. You're not going to be able to do that because Java is not going to allow you. Java is going to allow you to put data using the index, okay? But it's not going to be allow you to enter data to the reference variable, okay? So let me do an example here. What happens if we create another array here? Integer, a another numbers 2 equal new integer 3. Okay, what happened? We're gonna have in the computer memory, right? Something like this, right? A numbers 2. We're gonna have a numbers 2 here. Okay, and we're gonna have here, for example, other address location in the computer memory, and we're gonna be able to access that using NA numbers 2. Okay, so what happened here? What happened if you do now something like this? Okay, just gonna put some data here. Assume that you have 8, you have 5, and you have 2. Okay, in this array. And then you create another array. Okay? I told you that any number is gonna hold the location where the array is in the computer memory, right? The others, right? And then you can use any number in 0, 1, and 2 to access the data inside your array, correct? Okay. So now what happened? We have another array, NA numbers 2, with another location that Java assigned for you. Immediately when you create an array, Java check the free memory and assign the array in some location in the computer memory, the address, and assign the address to NA numbers 2. Okay, so NA numbers 2 hold these crazy numbers. So let's gonna print that. Okay, let's gonna comment out that for just for this example. So you can believe me what I telling you now. So system.out, and it's gonna print NA numbers. Okay, look at this. NA numbers, just the reference variable. Okay, and file. See that? This crazy number? This is the location. So in theory, it has something like this. Something like this. Any number is called this crazy number, the location in the computer memory, correct? That is help us to locate your physical array that at the beginning is 0, 0, 0. Okay, just to simplify, I use this number 1, 1, 1. Okay, but look at this. This is the location in the computer memory. Okay, so as you see, we never use any numbers. Any number help us just to identify where the array, the object is located in the computer memory. Okay, why I teaching you this crazy thing now? Because you need to know that. Why we need to know? Why you need to know that? Okay. What happened if I do something like this? NA numbers 2 is here, right? NA numbers 2, and this is empty, right? Correct. What do we have in NA numbers 2? all the elements are 0, right? Okay, let me play with that. Equal NA numbers. Boom. Okay. Hold on a second. What happened here? NA numbers. What do I have in NA numbers? NA number is here. So what do we have in this reference variable? Add 1, 1, 1. Okay. And what am I doing here? I copy whatever I have in NA numbers to NA numbers 2. So, bye-bye. I'm gonna copy whatever I have in NA numbers here. Okay, so now you are not gonna point to add 2, 2, 2. You're gonna point to add 1, 1, 1. So now you're gonna point here. Oh, okay. So what happened here? It means that you have two remote controls pointing to the same TV, pointing to the same object, to the same array. Okay? So when you copy the reference variables, you are copying whatever you have here, right? The address, the location in the computer memory. So that we're doing now is just synchronizing the reference variable, so both are gonna point to the same array. So now what happened if you do something like this? NA numbers index 1 equal -5. And then what happens if you just system that out, okay, and type NA numbers to index 1. What do you think is gonna be the result of that? Okay, you told me NA numbers 2 and NA numbers are gonna point to this guy now, correct? Are gonna point to this array now, correct? Okay, so if I use NA numbers 2 or if I use AA numbers, I'm gonna see this array. I'm not gonna see this array anymore. So bye-bye. I'm not gonna see you. Okay? I'm gonna see only NA numbers because I synchronize both. I copy whatever I have in NA numbers to NA numbers 2. So both are pointing to the same array. So now, if you modify something with NA numbers, with this remote control, okay, you're gonna see the same change, the same status using the other remote control. Like, okay, you have two remote control. You're watching TV, okay, with your brother, your sister, your friend, but both have the same TV. If you turn up the volume, correct? You're gonna see if you change to another channel, channel 2, with this remote control, you're gonna be able to modify that as well and change to 3. And in this remote control, the channel is gonna be 3. If you change to 4, you know that in this remote control, the channel is gonna be 4, but you can change that as well. So two remote control pointing to the same TV. So if you have any numbers index 1, that is -5, correct? And then you use system that out, and then you want to bring NA numbers 2, but NA numbers 2 point here. What do we have in the index 1? -1. So you're going to print -5. See that? Because of reference variable. Okay? So please study that really carefully, study that really well, because you need to know now, you need to know that to proceed with our next lecture. This is really important. Reference variable. Okay? Remember to study that. So here, I tell you that doesn't work as expected. So now you know that when you do that, you are copying the reference variable, the location in the computer memory, and both variables are going to point to the same array. So if you modify something with this remote control, doesn't matter, you're going to see the same change with the other remote control. Both are pointing to the same object. So you are not going to use this object anymore, this array anymore. Okay? Remember that. Okay? So here, I told you, this is not possible. You have to use the index, okay, the index to receive the data. This reference variable is holding the address in the computer memory, so you're going to want to be able to modify that, okay? Just only assign another reference variable, right, like we did here, correct? Okay, so now here, just remember, array index out of bound, correct? Remember that. It's when you use an invalid index. So here, what is the index for the last element of this array? 4. If you try to use 5, you're going to get a problem. Okay? Remember that. Okay? So array as a parameters. Okay? Array as a parameter of method. Okay. Let's gonna see that now. Okay, so let's gonna rewrite the example that we did. Okay, here. Okay. This for loop receives a number, right? This for loop display the data, right? Okay, and this for loop compute the sum of the number. Okay, interesting. What about if we create a method to allow us to compute, the sum of these numbers? Okay, just to help us to compute the sum of these numbers. Okay, so instead of create everything in the main method, we can create here a method. Add numbers. We will receive. This method is gonna receive what? It's gonna receive an array. Okay, an array. Okay, let's gonna see what's happening. Okay, let's gonna create a method. Public static. Okay. Let's gonna do something first. Let's gonna receive an array, correct? And then we're gonna return what? If this method is in charge to add numbers, it will an array. Okay. So this method is gonna receive an array and is gonna return the sum, right, of the numbers. So it's gonna return public static. It's gonna return an integer, the sum of the number, and we're gonna call that add numbers, correct? Okay, this method is gonna return the sum, right? And result. So at the end, this method have to return and result, right? And result. Okay. So now what happened here? This method, in order to compute the addition, the sum of the number, what does this method need? This method needs the data, right? The data that is here, right? Okay. Who is holding this data? You're gonna see your program. The array NA numbers, right? So the array NA numbers, it's storing, right, in the index 0, 1, and 2, the data, right? So you need to receive an array, correct? You don't need to receive numbers. You need to receive. You don't need to receive a primitive data type like int, double. No, you need to receive an array. Okay. When you receive a primitive data type integer, you type something like this, right? Correct. But now you are not gonna receive an integer. You're gonna receive an array. Okay, and you can call your array as you want. For example, NA this. Okay. So now what happened here? The definition for this method, okay, is a method that we will gonna add numbers and we'll receive an array as a parameter. An array of integer as a parameter. Yes, we receive an array of integer as a parameter. So bring that in method, because later you can solve a lot of problems due to the curly braces. Okay. Now, what happened here? I gonna receive data here. Okay, we're gonna receive data here. Let me see. Okay, in this for loop, remember what we did? We add the number, right? But we're gonna do the same thing in the method. But let's gonna do something. So instead of to do the for loop, okay, we're gonna call the method add the number, right? Okay. We're gonna call method add the number, right? Okay. And what do we need to pass to the method add the numbers? Let's see if I can do something here. Look at this. Any number, right? Any number have all the data, right? Now we need to connect any numbers with a list. Okay, so I need to pass to add the numbers, okay, the array NA numbers. So you're gonna pass any number here to the reference variable NA list. Okay, so what happened here? Okay. What happened here? I have in any numbers all my data, right? All the data is in any numbers. It's here. So I need to pass to my method any numbers, right? Okay? And you know that any numbers is pointing to the array, right? 0, 1, 2, that I explained here before. Okay, so your job now is gonna be call NA numbers and pass the array that you have with the data. Just the reference variable, like this. NA numbers. Okay, now what happened here? You're gonna call add numbers. Add numbers here, right? Let me see if I can just do the rotation correctly. Add numbers. Add numbers here, right? Correct? You are calling add number is here, right? So now you're gonna send any numbers and you're gonna receive any number in the array any list. Okay? So now what do you have in a numbers? In a numbers you have, remember, the array with the data. Correct? The array with the data. Any number called the array with the data. Right? All the data that you store in your array is there. So you're gonna pass this array because the NA number is pointing to the physical array. So you're gonna pass the reference variable here. When you do that, you're gonna do something like this. NA numbers, and you have NA list. NA list equal NA numbers. Okay? So whatever you have in NA numbers, remember that we have correct? You're going to pass to NA list. It means that NA list is going to have now, right? And you're going to point to the same array. Okay? So with the variable NA list, you're going to be able to see whatever you have in NA numbers. This is what we're doing here. NA numbers, NA list. So you are connecting now that. So NA list is going to be able to do the same for loop that we were doing here. Copy and edit this here. And it's going to fix that. Okay. Which variable we're going to use to compute the result? Try here, result, result. Okay, inside this method, do we know about NA numbers? No, NA numbers is a local variable that it's the scope for this variable is inside the main method, right? NA numbers, but inside add numbers, we don't know anything about NA numbers. Inside add a number, we don't know anything about NA numbers. But see the explanation here. NA numbers, correct, assign the address to NA list. So NA list is going to point to the same array. Oh, good. And I have NA list here. So instead of to type NA numbers, you just type NA list. Okay? So you are going to do the same thing but with the array, with the reference variable NA list. So NA list point here, correct? So now everyone is going to be able, NA numbers and NA list is going to manipulate this array that is here, correct? So you're going to be able to see the data, you're going to be able to access to the first element, second element, third element that is here in the for loop. Okay, as we did before. So you're gonna compute the result here and then return the result. Okay, this method is gonna return the result. Remember as I told you, when you call a method that returns the value, you have to have here a variable. It's gonna use nsum here. Nsum is gonna be equal add numbers. Correct? Now you have in nsum the addition of the element in your array. Then you're gonna be able to compute that. So this is a good example about reference variables and method with arrays. Okay? Let me see if I need to know something else. Okay, this is another method here. Look at this. Test array. So what happened here? You have the array. Here. Okay. So you have an array here in a num, 5 elements, correct? You have a method, array method, that receive an integer and receive an array of integers, correct? Okay, good. Now what happened here? You're gonna call array method and you're gonna pass in num, that is 1, right? 1, and then you're gonna pass in a num, that this is an array, correct? And what are the values, the default values in this array for each element? 0, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Correct. But you're gonna call the method array method. Is here. You're gonna pass here 1, correct? Okay. So here you're gonna pass 1, correct? And now you're gonna pass the array, correct? And you have the array, something like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. Correct? Okay. Now, the array here is empty, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? And then what happened here? In a number, you assign 1001. A number. This one is a num, correct? A scope was variable. Question. If you modify a number and assign 1001, okay? 1001, okay? What is the value of a num? 1001? No, right? It's gonna be, it's being 1, right? Because we didn't touch a num, right? We touched a number. The scope was variable, right? A num is still being 1. Here, a number now is gonna be 1001. Okay, but now what happened? In a numbers. Okay, I'm gonna modify a numbers. Okay, but remember now, what happened here? Okay, now we have here n, okay, n number, okay, equal n a num, correct? Okay, so now what happened? We are synchronizing the arrays, right? So both are gonna point here, and this one is gonna point here as well, right? So now what happened here? In a number 0, 0, index 0, you assign 5, 5, 5, 5. Now you have here 5, 5, 5. Sorry, doing my best. 5, correct? Index 0, correct? But what happened here? Remember, both variables are gonna point to this array. So if you modify something with n a numbers, or you modify something with n a num, it's gonna be the same things. You are gonna do the change, and you're gonna be able to see the changes with the variable n a num or with the variable n a numbers. Okay, the same thing that we did here, right? Remember, it's the same thing. So now, if you display n a numbers here, if you use, for example, n, this one should be n a numbers, n a numbers. So if you display n a numbers index 0, you're gonna see what? 5, 5, 5, 5, right? If you display n a num index 0, you're gonna see 5, 5, 5 as well. Both. Okay? Just remember, reference variable. Okay? They are gonna be, when you do a reference variable, the variable that you have here in your main method is gonna be linked with the variable that is on in your method, main method and the other method. Both reference variables are gonna point to one array. If you modify with an element with a variable n a numbers, you're gonna see the changes with the variable n a num as well. Okay? So when you print n num is gonna be 1, correct? Because it never changed here. And when you print n a num, that is here, even that the array was empty at the beginning here, 0, 0, when you call the method array method, you link num with na numbers, and then you modify na numbers index 0, 5, 5, 5. Okay. However, if you use na num 0, you're gonna see the element 5, 5, 5. Even that you didn't modify with a variable na num, but you modify with a variable na numbers. But this remote control changed the channel, so you're gonna see the channel with your remote control because it's just one TV. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. Okay, this is that I explained here, returning arrays from methods. Okay, you can return an array as well. So this method is a method that returns a double array, and receive an array of double. Okay, so here you create a new array and return the new array to the main method. Okay, so you can do many things with arrays. Okay, you have to practice. And this is, as I told you, the memory address that Java used to locate the array. Okay, the address. Okay, explain you that. And let's gonna do a lab. Okay, a lab in the next video. We're gonna create a program to allow us to receive the product name and the prices, and after that, we're gonna display enter the product name, we're gonna display enter the product price, name, price, name, price, and then we're going to store the data in two arrays. One array for the product, other array for the price. Okay? And then we're going to display the total, like the add sum number, remember that we did? And we're going to detect the highest price. Okay?